This time on Woody's Garage. Saddle up, boys, it's back to the Broncco.
We got a nice warm February day. Might as well bring the stuff outside and work, right? So we're back on the Rupp today. And what I'm gonna do is I went down to Home Depot or Lowe's and I got some new bolts for the handlebars and a new spacer for the front wheel, so we can try to get that right. So these I'm just gonna swap out because they're a mixed batch of 1/2 inch and 9/16, and these aren't long enough to have a washer, so that's what those bolts were for. Yeah, that looks cleaner. Now, to get the spacing right, so we're pushed further over this way, bigger gap over this way, so we got to trim this one down and add to this, because this is a maximum length one right here, so I need to make a bigger piece than what's right there. I want to see if I can get this leg a little straighter now that I know how easy it is to take these out. That's all there is to it. Yeah, that looks pretty darn straight. Best I could do. Funny thing was, is the bend was way up top here. Strange. Okay, we cut this one with a pipe cutter. Perfect. I swore I had this wheel like perfectly centered before, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I never did. We'll put that one in. We'll work on the other side. Yeah, looks good. All right. Well, craziest thing about this is I didn't even need the one I went to go get. Okay, kind of looking at the Broncco again, kind of figuring out on what to do on the drive and the engine, and I have no answers for this bike at all. It's got like a number 41 chain mini rear sprocket, which is kind of a problem, and then you have a cradle that's very small. So, I mean, the best thing I can do is try to get a jack shaft in here, is what I'm thinking. So here's one of my ideas. I got these sprockets from my friend Massacre, and I was thinking of screwing these right through the teeth of that sprocket, because they seem to kind of line up. This one's the same size, but it's kind of smaller. Let's see if that is any merit at all. Well, see, what I'm thinking of is that these could sit in a sprocket and be tightened up, but yeah, no, I'm dreaming. It can't happen. That would be nice though. This hub is like a motorcycle, it's rubber mounted, so you really just can't use these bolts to mount something on, at least as far as I know. Well, I was thinking that this Tecumseh 3.5 is probably the best engine in this situation because it's the smallest. It doesn't have a big snowblower housing on it, so it fits the frame better, and there's more room to put a jack shaft type deal in there. You know, I might go with that one initially because it's easy. So we do have some options. Are any of them any good? Don't know. Okay, this is sort of what I've come up with here. We got the clutch on backwards. It would line up to, it would have to be a sprocket about that size. That's on a 1-inch shaft. It's 41 chain, which is actually pretty good. And then go to another inside sprocket, which goes to the rear wheel. I would rather have a much smaller gear here, and then I think if I do, I'm going to have problems with hitting the frame. Possibly I can drill new holes in the mounting plate. I know I did an entire video on this where I came up with absolutely nothing. But this is better than nothing, I think. Or maybe those would work. Couldn't seem to get the bolts into those. Yeah, just bring it down a little bit. Let me try that. Yeah, the lower position doesn't seem to work. It's going to be a little low there. What I was thinking of is I cut this in half a long time ago to use part of it, I think, for mounting a chain guard or something. But how about you drill new holes and you shorten this thing up and put this here. Let's get this out of the way. Yeah, now I think we're talking. About this plate to these two holes, and we got this other plate still on the back, which you can make a mounting bracket down to the plate so that it's strong enough. This is pretty close to the engine, but not too close, and we could position it so it straddles this just right. Yeah. You know, I have to cut off this and this. Yeah, I like it. Probably bend this out for now. Oh, they're gone. I'm going to grind that down a little bit better, a little smoother. Okay, we got those two off. They were right there. So now we can kind of see, have a better face to see where we drill the holes. I want to make sure I'm going to do this right, so I don't think I'm going to do it today. But a little bit of a hump there we got to think about. Or maybe not, because these stick out that far too. You know, I want to get this right in line, this shaft right in line with this, so that if I use something as small as a 10 tooth, it's going to clear. Okay, now my math, that's a good boring part, is if the front sprocket, the clutch, is going to be a 10. If we can get that big sucker, that 36, on this with an adapter to go from 5/8 up to 1 inch. Don't know if they make an adapter that big. Then you'd have roughly about a 1 to 3. So then if we put a 10, once again on this shaft, back to the rear, which is a 30, then you'd have another 1 to 3. So I don't know, is that 1 to 6? I'd like to hope so. One other problem I have is this part. This back part is hitting this oil fill. I could break off those tabs, no problem, or find another plug that's just flush. And I'm feeling kind of brave. I think I'm going to drill that hole up there. Right, yeah. And see if I can hang this. Okay, this is an old beat up 10 tooth sprocket 41 chain. This shaft steps down and the outside will fit this, but the inside will not. So we'll have to rethink this axle here, or rethink the whole thing. But it almost clears. It clears down there, but not on the top. Sure, you could put a pad or something there. But I also have the problem that the engine is going to need to have the motor plate extended. from this plate, so that'll give it actually a little height, or at least that's what I'm thinking. Then the sprocket, this clutch turned around this way, is going to line up right about here. So 2 sprockets are going to have to exist on this shaft. Now, this is kind of like the ideal thing, that this can kind of go over that one, so it can, you know, sit any distance. But at the same time, I do think if I had it turned around this way, if it didn't have this indentation, it could sit like this, and both would be happy. That's a pretty good development. I'm not sure if I can change the bearings inside this thing. Because I got to think about what shaft, you know, the sprockets, etc. But this is kind of a workable idea. Yeah, the chain is straight right there. I got it kind of marked out here with blue magic marker, so I got a rough idea of where it was. You can see how far the engine sticks out. I'm thinking of cutting the plate off that rusted out snowblower. I mean, the further back the engine goes, which it actually can go back, which is kind of strange. Hang on 1 second. Yeah, I think I can push the engine back, which will make the 10 straddle that, you know, 12 even better. Just run some kind of pad there, and then the engine can be mounted on the plate. The only weirdness I have going on here is that the cover is hitting the brake pedal, but I could bend this brake pedal out down so that it's not hitting that. But that might be amazing. Got a lot to think about here. I have to build a bracket for this to attach down here to get a little more stability. And we got to think about what this axle part is going to be here. What size, the bearings, if I can pop these bearings out or not. I think I've had them out before. Jeez. Didn't think it was possible. Well, I managed to get a front brake together. Just a cable. An old, I think it's a bicycle lever, bicycle cable. I had to kind of chew up this thing to fit into the small hole here, but then this is a self-pinching bolt there. I just got to cut off the excess there. The brakes work.